I love this woman. I don't even know exactly what her role was to us right there, but she teaches at Givat Haviva, where we've been working for 2 weeks there. And her mother is a very famous potter. So we were fortunate to see some of that collection. And then she and her husband drove us the next day to the Sea of Galilee in this enormous rig of a car, all of us in this car. So we were barely over our jet lag, and we were suddenly at the Sea of Galilee. So, you know, I grew up studying the Bible and reading a lot about different religions myself. So to me, to see a lot of these sites in person was more than moving. Here's Dirk. I tried to show everybody individually and their current work now, as well as the in-studio work. So you'll really, by the end of this, I think you'll get a great picture of what we did. And in the 2 weeks, peppered between the studio work were these off-site visits, right? Because you can't just go be in a studio for 2 weeks. You've got to get out and see the place. So they were such amazing hosts, Avner and Michal and some of the others, that they drove us to these locations, unloaded us, explained the history, reloaded us onto the next site. In 2 weeks, I saw, as much as anybody can see in 2 weeks. Sana just had a show in New York here not long ago, so some of you may know her and her work. I know I'm talking a mile a minute, but you know what? This is exactly what it was like, that everything just happened so fast. We stood and looked at this view. I mean, this is just, when you grow up in a country like America with such a short history, I think, we're a little missing out on that kind of timeline. So to be here amongst these locations that I'd read about in the Bible were just kind of mind-blowing to me. So here we went to a kibbutz that is still an operating kibbutz, and Sana's graduate school friend, Varda, is a working artist in that kibbutz. And so we went and visited her. She brought us in to meet her family. They had a meal for us. We saw her studio. Like I say, at this point, we were still just overwhelmed that we were even in Israel. But it was like getting these little sneak peeks right into people's homes, literally. So, these were some shots I took and Avner took, just really trying to document the way that the program operates, which is putting people together in an unsuspecting fashion and letting them talk. It's sort of like we're so used to Israel being such a political conversation that when you add ceramics to the mix and bring these people together, what happens is just community develops. So, drinking tea, sharing, breaking bread literally together. That was one of the first things everybody did when we went anywhere, was just offer us a bite to eat, a sip of tea, and then the conversation could go any direction. So this is Varda's work. Her studio was jammed with work. The thing that struck me the most when we went to this gallery where her work was exhibited at the kibbutz. It's so emotional. This is really raw, really real work about what people went through in Israel, whether it was the Holocaust or their own children going off into the army. These were things I didn't know, that all of these young people go off and train in the army, and some of them sign up for the combat units, so their parents don't know that their 18-year-old may just suddenly sign up and disappear on them. But then there were these aspects of Israel, the beaches. I'm really struck by power plants. So the power plant and the columns of history, this image for me really said it all. It was like modern day meeting the history. That's Caesarea. So the beaches were sort of like a bonus, I didn't even really think about that. But of course, this glorious, glorious location of these ruins, these Roman ruins, is right on the beach. So this was when the horse carriage races were held there. I'm already scheming my return, by the way. If you can't tell how excited I am about it yet, once I catch my breath, I'll give some more. So this was just the very first weekend. We hadn't even set up our studio yet. And everything about this first weekend to me was a little bit of a blur. Then we get to the Art Center. So Givat Haviva, it says it right there, education, peace, and social solidarity. This is a former kibbutz, now used to teach English, Arabic, Hebrew. Young soldiers go there to start some of their professional career development. The Art Center on site these are now some of the other members of our group. The art center is all ceramics, so we took it over. And Avner, the clay director there, said, set up any way you like next to anybody you want to, and there will be no formal introduction. So this to me was news, you know, and I set up next to this young fellow, or he set up next to me, I don't even know. Next thing I know, he was spinning these pots. A knot was across the aisle from me, and everybody just got to work. So we kind of wondered when we'd all meet each other.